Full moons make us tired, they make us moody, they make us irritable, especially when you have a full moon in Scorpio. And this is a full moon in Scorpio that is ruled by Mars in Aries, okay? And Mars in Aries has just come off of a very grueling journey conjoining with Saturn over the past couple of weeks, and with Mercury and when the sun was in Aries, right? So Mars in Aries has been put through the goddamn ringer, and it is now a wounded warrior that won the battle but lost the war. And so this Mars in Aries energy is what is ruling this full moon in Scorpio this weekend. So with that in mind, full moons are when the tub in the bath has reached the fucking brim and you have no choice but to begin soaking in it, right? This full moon in Scorpio, I do not want you to underestimate the cleansing power of water, okay? Your tears are purifying. Your sweat is purifying. Your showers, your baths, when you wash your face, when you wash the dishes, when you drink a tall glass of water, right? A nice cold glass of water. This is all these are energetic. Water is an inherently renewable resource, and it is inherently a cleansing resource. And so really incorporate that into your rituals this weekend with this full moon, because otherwise you will turn into a lunatic, okay? Where does the word lunatic come from? Okay, it comes from the fact that full moons drive people crazy. And with this being a very Mars-ruled full moon, okay, emotions are running high, people are feeling really intense. And it's like, if you just take a few steps back, you'll realize that it's not that deep. It doesn't have to be that deep. However, Scorpio wants it to be that deep. If you say it's not that deep to a Scorpio, they will be immediately offended, right? Because Scorpio is really the survivalist of the zodiac. Scorpio is the sign that wants to be camping out in the middle of nowhere, isolated, and live off the land, okay? And with a full moon, the sun and the moon are opposite each other, okay? And the signs that they're in will be activated. So while the full moon is in Scorpio, obviously the sun is in Taurus. And so the Taurus-Scorpio axis is extremely activated around this time. Scorpio energy generates the friction, the tension, and Taurus represents the pleasurable release. And so with this Scorpio full moon, you're going to notice that people are on edge. There's kind of a fizziness in the air. People are, their nervous systems are fried. They're feeling raw, exposed. And what do animals in nature do when they feel threatened? All right, they're showing their teeth. They are ready to fight. Their hair raises on their back. Or they just run away, right? And so this is going to really, the Scorpio full moon is going to activate that kind of fight or flight mode, because again, Scorpio is how we survive. At the pure rawest form, what do we do? What are the kinds of choices that we make? What kind of beast is awakened within us? But it's really within this area, this chasm of prickliness and tension and chaos. This is where Scorpio is born from. This is Scorpio's stomping grounds, all right? This is where Scorpio thrives. And so you may find that your attempts this weekend going into next week are to, indulge in your pleasures and to feel really good. Maybe that fail-safe and those coping mechanisms are not hitting the same, because the Scorpio energy really forces us to face our discomfort. And that discomfort can often come in the form of realizing where we are settling, okay? Because Taurus energy wants to stay with what's familiar, okay? And that's why the moon loves Taurus, because the moon is about the past and nostalgia. And Taurus really appreciates familiarity and sustainability and being comfortable in what you already know and continuing that and not rocking the boat. Taurus wants to choose the path that is smooth. Taurus wants things to be and feel as easy as possible. However, Scorpio's like, oh, you thought, bitch, you thought. I'm going to show you something that you didn't know that is probably going to change your perception of what you think you know. And Taurus is like, but I'm so happy over here. Why would I do that? And Scorpio's like, it's not that I'm just choosing chaos just for the fucking hell of it. Sometimes I am. But most of the time, it's because I would rather be uncomfortable in the truth than be blissful in my ignorance, right? And as a Scorpio moon, I concur. I don't care how much the truth hurts, right? My biggest pet peeve as a Scorpio moon is when people say, oh, I didn't want to tell you this because I knew it would hurt your feelings. Or, oh, I didn't want to tell you the truth because it might make you feel this way or that. And it's like, no, I don't want to be living in a fantasy. I don't want things to be sugar coated. I don't need a spoonful of sugar to make the medicine go down, right? I'm just gonna fucking take it, okay? Full send. Because Scorpio really values justice. Scorpio really values that sense of we are making decisions because Scorpio is Mars ruled. So Scorpio enjoys being the decision maker. Okay, Scorpio enjoys being in control, just like Taurus likes to be in control. All the fixed signs for real like to be in control. However, Scorpio wants to be in control from a sense of, I know what everyone's cards look like. And if I know what everyone's cards look like, now I can put my card down. Now I can make my move. Okay, I need everyone's shit. I need to know all your shit. I need to know all of your tea. I need to know all of the receipts. I need to know all of your secrets. Okay? Because if I don't know what skeletons are in your closet, then I can't make a decision about whether I like you or not. Because on the surface, you could seem very pleasant and you could be very nice. But it's very easy to be pleasant and nice. That doesn't impress Scorpio. Okay? Taurus doesn't really care one way or the other. Okay? Scorpio, however, is like, I'm going to keep you at arm's length, respectfully, until I know what you were hiding, because everyone's hiding something. Everyone's hiding something. Everyone has their own demons. Everyone has their own shit. And that is what Scorpio is able to see. And I think this is why Scorpio placements tend to walk around with a sense of like, if you are overly friendly to me, if you are overly nice to me, I'm not going to trust you. Because that suggests to me that there's something that you are overcompensating for. Like there's something a little bit off there, right? And this is why the sign of social construct, Libra, is in the 12th house of Scorpio, because Libra is about shaking people's hands and making nice and getting along with everybody. But Scorpio, this is something that kind of tortures the mind of Scorpio, because Scorpio energy is very easily dislikable. It's very easy to hate on a Scorpio. You can easily find something about them that's like, it's easy, it's low-hanging fruit. And that's because Scorpio doesn't really care about kissing ass. It's just not within their nature, right? And that's not to say, like, Taurus is a very reflective sign. Taurus energy is where people can come together, right? Because everyone can come together around a nice meal. Everyone can come together and agree that these decorations are beautiful. This house is beautiful. This person is beautiful. This dress is beautiful. Like, everyone can agree and collaborate on beauty. That's something that everyone can appreciate in lots of different ways. However, Scorpio is about the differences. Scorpio is about our sensitive parts. Scorpio is about where we rub up against one another. Scorpio energy is about where we clash, right? But that doesn't mean that Scorpio doesn't also enjoy pleasure. It just means that Scorpio will purposely delay that gratification so that it's all the more pleasurable, right? So just like with taking care of any plant, right, with the Taurus-Scorpio axis, you sometimes need to cut off parts of the plant to allow the rest of the plant to thrive. You have to propagate your plants. This is a powerful full moon showing you where you are decaying, what parts of you are rotting, and what parts of you are ready to blossom. By Mars in Aries. So it is kind of lighting a fire under your belly in terms of what you are no longer tolerating. So for my Scorpio placements, especially the Scorpio risings, but also Taurus, Leo, Aquarius, especially if you have placements around the 11th degree, this full moon is giving local werewolf terrorizes community. We are becoming werewolves under this full moon. This is the kind of full moon where those girls from H2O became mermaids, okay? That's what this is giving. There is a lot of canon events that are taking place around the Scorpio moon because Scorpio represents those kind of like lower energies, those cardinal energies. And Scorpio energy is a part of the alchemization process where we turn inwards, we face our shadow, and we integrate our shadow, right? We understand that without discernment, we cannot have empathy, right? Without integration, without inspiration, we cannot take action. Without grounding, without being grounded, we cannot have accurate perception. And so Scorpio is the sign that really bridges these gaps, okay? And so a lot of times when we are transforming, when we are transmuting, okay, because Scorpio is the sign that also represents the transmutation process of pain or grief, trauma, sadness, lack of motivation into creativity, right? Into action, all right? Into progress. So it's going to really bring up, this full moon is really going to bring up anything that is meant to be used, anything that is sitting there stagnant, and it's sitting there and you're neglecting it and you're avoiding it when you could be using it, right? The only thing I'll say with this Scorpio full moon is that you don't want to let your shadows completely take the wheel. But it's the Scorpio moons are the ones that kind of, and really Scorpio placements across the board kind of naturally engage with this alchemization process without even realizing that they're doing it, okay? And I think that a lot of Scorpios find that they are their most motivated and inspired when they are doing something out of spite. And when they have some type of tension or pressure that they can work against. So the Scorpio full moon may seem intimidating or overwhelming at first, right? Because it's going to bring a lot up to the surface and will have you kind of rubbing against your kind of rougher edges, okay? But sometimes real growth does not come from reaching out more and trying to become more. And it's not always about expanding. It's not always about throwing everything away and starting over. Sometimes it's about working with what you have, okay? Because the reality is the Scorpio full moon is really showing you that energy never disappears. Energy never disappears. So while your first inclination and your impulse, because, we have Aries, Mars and Aries ruling the Scorpio full moon. So your first impulse might be to just burn the bridges, to start from zero. But you've made so much progress. And even though the progress has maybe been full of a lot of ups and downs, it hasn't been clean. Maybe it's been messy, but the progress has been made. It would not make sense for you to just start over at zero again because it didn't go perfectly. That is self-sabotage. And that is not how you build a better foundation. Because again, with the Scorpio alchemization process, it's really about understanding that, again, we're not just reaching for more. We're also understanding, can I carry what I have? Can I sustain what I'm asking for? Because if every time you ask for something, you get it, and then it's too heavy, and you drop it, or you self-sabotage it, or it slips out of your fingers, and then you get caught in the same pattern over and over again. So what this Scorpio full moon is really asking you is if you are truly ready for the things that you're asking for, and for you to understand that a lot of wisdom can be gained from your wounds, that your wounds do not have to be working against you. And when you allow them to just sit there, they fester and they turn into something that becomes this shadow in the night, that you're so scared of. But then you realize, oh, actually, this isn't even real. I shouldn't be scared of you, right? So the Scorpio full moon is really calling for you to step into full embodiment, right? And for the fixed signs especially, I think that with Uranus being in a fixed sign, being in Taurus, now Uranus has finally exited Taurus, okay? For the fixed signs, there has been a lot. So wherever this full moon is happening for you, wherever Scorpio rules in your chart, is the area of life where this full moon is going to be forcing you to assert yourself more, right? This is an area where you have been potentially developing a lot of resentment or a lot of built up wrath that needs to be released, okay? And with Scorpio being a Mars-ruled sign, and with Mars currently in his domicile, right? Mars is in his domicile, so Mars is functioning very directly right now. You might find yourself coming to a massive, full moons are always culmination points. But this full moon in particular is the type of full moon where you are pushed to your limit. Maybe for fixed signs, you're at a point where the limit is over there. So you're already in the beyond of your limit zone, right? And you're realizing, oh my God, I am beyond my limit already. So what Scorpio energy is so great for is for reclaiming your power, okay? It's recognizing that you accepted something that was out of line, that was crossing some kind of boundary, and now you are using that energy to snap back, to have a comeback, right? Scorpio is all about you can think that I'm the bad guy. You can think that I'm the villain. I don't care. I will be the villain. And sometimes being in your villain era, especially for the Scorpios, for the fixed signs, you need it. It's healthy. It's important. So feelings are absolutely going to be running high this week with this Scorpio full moon. People are going to be feeling prickly. People are going to be feeling on edge. People are ready for a venting session. People need a release for the frustration. And it's going to happen for better or for worse. So give yourself that leeway this week to release a lot of the tension, release a lot of the pressure, because if you do not give yourself that space and the time to do so, you will find yourself misdirecting your anger. You will find yourself doing it at the wrong time, okay? And remember, the timing is everything, okay? The biggest course of action that I recommend this week towards this full moon is finding ways that you can keep yourself in control. Because Scorpio, a fixed sign, loves control. And when you can control your breath, really find ways to move a lot this week with this heavily Martian energy in the sky. Controlling your breath through moments of discomfort is what is going to heal you somatically leading up to this Scorpio full moon. Good luck.